Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is VooDoo Val, and I am going to be your host for this awesome illustration segment, and I am joined here today by my new friend, Ann Shen. How are you doing, Ann?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I'm super excited to kind of jump into all the awesome stuff you have planned for us today. But before we get to that, I would like to welcome everybody back and say hello. I see Shauna and Brandon and Official Elements and Angela and Ernest in chat. Thank you all for sticking around and hanging out with us on Adobe Live today. I see Sam Peterson is in the chat, Jordan Crawford. It's good to have you folks here with us hanging out, doing some illustration. I'm going to, real quick before we dive into kind of what we're going to work on today, I'm going to pass things over to you, Anne, let you introduce yourself and let everybody know about you and what you do. And then we're going to look at the schedule before we dig into the work we've got planned for today. So why don't you let everybody know maybe where they can find you online and the kind of work you usually do.
Okay, thanks. So I am an illustrator and author based in Los Angeles, and I have I've written and published 2 books: Bad Girls, Bad
Wow,
History, and Legendary Ladies.
that's
Both come
awesome.
out, and then I work with a bunch of clients, including Disney, Facebook, New York Times, etc. So that's kind of what I do. I'm a full-time freelance illustrator and full-time author. And you can find me online at ann-shen.com or at AnnDanger on most socials.
I like that. So danger is literally your middle name. Is that what you're telling me? Is
Yes,
that nice?
exactly.
Nice. I'm into it. I'm into it. So let's take a look at the schedule real quick, and then we'll dive into what Anne has planned for us today. So if I pop over here to our schedule, you can see we had Claudia up first today with some awesome vector art. Thank you, Claudia. Jesus Ramirez was here with the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge at about 9 a.m. Pacific. 9:30, we have Ann Shen, my new friend here, and me doing the drawing and painting segment. And after us, we're going to have the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge with Andrew Hockrattle, our awesome friend. Alexis Bustos is here this week with some Adobe XD workflows and pro tips for us at noon, followed by Howard Pinsky, who's going to be doing the XD Daily Creative Challenge. And then we are going to round out the day with Alice Lee and her awesome new Doodle Therapy segment. So it's going to be a pretty jam-packed day, and all of these folks are going to be back tomorrow as well. So you get me and Anne for 2 days, as well as everyone else who is listed here. We're super excited to design and create for you. And now I'm going to pop over to our stream so that, Anne, you can kind of tell us what you have planned for us and get to work.
Okay.
Alrighty. Perfect. There we go. They can see your Photoshop and everything.
Awesome.
So what are you going to be working on today?
So I'm doing a coloring book page, which will be themed around connection.
Awesome.
And one of the ways that I've been able to connect during this whole crazy quarantine time is by sending care packages to all of my friends and loved ones. And also getting some in return. And I love getting mail. Like, who doesn't love getting mail that's not a bill or,
Oh, yeah.
Junk mail?
Oh, yeah.
So I thought today we would create a care package together filled with all the things that we love getting in the mail. So I have some ideas, but I'd love to get ideas from the stream as well. So I was going to include, I'm going to start sketching while we talk about this some more, but I was going to include flowers. I'd sent my mom flowers for Mother's Day and for her birthday, which all happened to fall during this time.
Awesome. Okay.
And I think she liked them more than seeing me, actually, because she sent me photos of herself arranging them, which was really, really cute.
That's awesome.
And then I have some puzzles and books and stuff that are lying around that I've sent to friends, and letters, and basically just keeping in touch with people that way. So I love to hear what you would love to receive in a care package.
Yeah, folks, everybody in chat, what's a something that you would love to receive in the care package right about now. I think if I could choose something to receive in a care package, I would love. This is gonna sound like cliche, but I have a thing with like getting cheeses. I like.
Oh,
I like.
That's not cliche at all.
I love getting cheeses. And I like having like little baby cheeses. I have like a stash of baby cheeses in my fridge that like when I feel like I want a snack, I like get cheeses and crackers and I watch Netflix.
Tell me more about baby cheeses.
So like you know those little red waxy round cheese wheels.
Okay, got it.
I'm not fancy with it. I'll say that. Like I'm not fancy. I don't have any I don't have like expensive tastes when it comes to cheeses. I will buy 20 cheese wheels for $5. Like it's not that deep, but I love to have like a little stack of baby cheese wheels and like some Ritz crackers, and then I'll just be like,
oh my God,
do I want to watch The Witcher season 1 for a third time? Yes, I do. Yes,
I love that.
And then I will sit and do that.
You got your night cheese that you're working on always.
Night cheese. I really hope that was a reference to 30 Rock.
Yes, to 30 Rock.
Yes, perfect.
Everything is.
Liz Lemon is my spirit animal.
It's so funny that I was just talking to my husband about cheeses because we went to this like independent cheese shop near our house because I wanted them to stay open last week, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to pick cheeses that are not at like Trader Joe's. Like, I don't know how to pick fancy cheeses. So she gave us some recommendations, and then I was eating them all at night, and I was telling my husband, I was like, oh, okay, I get people who wine taste now, I guess. Like you could get really into it with all the subtle flavors.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's cheese and it's delicious. And like, I don't have, say, necessarily a preference for one cheese over another, or know if I'm having the same cheese as I had before. Like, I'm just like, every cheese is delicious. There's no going wrong with it.
I agree.
So I love the idea of getting like a
little cheese package.
Right now at night, to relax, I make myself a little charcuterie plate and feel fancy, and also just watch, like, for me, I watch Schitt's Creek, so
nice.
Watch Schitt's Creek for like the 10th time.
Nice.
And so that would be such a cute gift to send, like a cheese of the month.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That would be awesome.
That'd be nice.
I would love that.
So,
I'm like not, like I said, I'm not super fancy with my cheese, but that doesn't stop me from being like really, really picky and like fancy about it, like in my head, because I'll have like a little, like I can't even remember what those cheeses are called, like the little cheese wheels thing, but I'll like
Baby Bells.
Yeah, the Baby Bells.
Right.
So I'll be like eating a Baby Bell, and those are not like extra fancy, but I'll eat it and be like, do I detect a hint of nuttiness? Is there like a nutty flavor? This Cracker Barrel cheddar is just delectable. I'm not like, it's not fancy cheese, but like you don't have to let that stop you from being fancy in quarantine, folks. You really don't. You can
I love that. You don't have to have fancy cheese to be to not be fancy in quarantine.
Exactly.
That's my new mode.
Shauna says, "Oh my gosh, cheese! Yes, the next time we are in the same place, can we please get a plate of cheeses?" Absolutely, Shauna.
Of course.
It's official. Me and Shauna have planned an outing for cheeses.
Yes, Shauna.
Let's do it. We're bringing Anne. It's happening.
Yes. I'm so happy to be involved with anything cheese related.
Yep. You know, I think.
What do you like with your cheeses?
I like sometimes a nice glass of wine is great. But I like to have like a plate of all kinds of like little tiny items. It's mostly also an excuse to get like the smallest version of snacks that I can find and put them all on a really big plate that makes them look smaller. So I have like a baby cheese wheels. Olives? Yes, little tiny olives. I get like the teeny tiny pickles that are only like an inch long. you know?
Yeah.
And then
What
I
the British
get,
call like gherkins.
yes, they're so good. And they have like the little adorable little pickle bumps. I don't know why they're so cute, but
I'm
anything
drawing them
that's
right
super
now, the
small.
little pickle bumps.
Yes, I can see it. They're adorable. And I get like, I'll get like some almonds. Almonds are good. And I get like a bunch of different kinds of crackers, like a Ritz cracker, or like the
Ooh.
square or like the rectangle club crackers. Anything that's like
Mhm.
buttery and crunchy, you know, those
Mhm.
are really good.
Mhm.
And then I'm a huge fan of goat cheese as well.
Oh,
I
me
love
too.
goat cheese. Sometimes for a snack, I will straight up I will half an avocado and I will fill the hole where the seed was with like a big chunk of goat cheese and then sprinkle salt and pepper over the top of it and eat it with a spoon out of the
That is inspired. I'm gonna
Thank
have
you.
to try that.
Yep.
That sounds delicious.
Everyone try it. It's super good. It's like
Okay, I love this
it's
new snack
delicious.
hour talk we have now.
Yes, this is we just changed the title of the stream to snack hour. It's
It's
happening.
just gonna be foods we want delivered to our
Exactly. Yes. Let's see. I love this plan. It's perfect. So Shauna, yes. VooDoo Val is Remy from Ratatouille. Honestly, I can honestly say I have tried eating a strawberry and a piece of cheese at the same time, and it's not like that mouse made it look like. It's not. It's like he was experiencing some things.
colors.
He was like enlightened after that, and I was just like, why is this cheese sweet? I don't want this.
You know, I have that thing too. I don't like things to be sweet and savory. Like just it can only be one thing to me.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same way. I want to eat something sweet and I want to eat something savory, but I swear if you bring me a salad with cheese and nuts and meat on it and then there's like oranges in it too, I will send it back. I will not.
I just get confused. What am I eating right now?
Yeah, why is this? I taste candy and meat at the same time and it's not doing good things for my taste buds. It's not good. My mom knows how to make cheese. That sounds amazing. I would love to make cheese.
I was gonna say that sounds like a fun hobby to pick up during core.
I made butter one time. I made if you get like and it's like so weird because I thought that like if I was gonna ever make butter, I'd have to be like outside with one of those big barrels, just like pushing that thing.
Oh, churning.
Like up, like churning it. No, I got like a half-gallon jug of like thick cream and you just shake it and eventually it just
I think we did that in like elementary school too.
It was really fun. I was like, I am going to make a piece of toast with this homemade butter I made and it's going to be the greatest piece of toast I've ever tasted because I made the toast and I made the butter. And
wow,
it was pretty good.
Look at you homesteading.
Yeah, I'm trying. I was wearing a little bonnet. I had an apron on.
I love that you're in cosplay even for cooking.
It was like major Oregon Trail style. I opened up my window and like waved to my oxen and was like, I'm in here making butter, don't mind me.
It's true. And then we have the fear of getting like dysentery and dying.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, folks. Honestly, I think Oregon Trail is probably the most difficult video game I've ever played, and I've played a lot of video games. I still have one of those little, it works. It's a Mac computer and the screen is like smaller than an iPad. It's like a little box, like the whole, you know, and it's like that weird like off-white eggshell tan color that all the Macs were colored back in the day.
Does it have the slot for the floppy disk that's the size of a piece of toast?
Yes.
And the floppy disk is actually floppy.
And the floppy disk holds like 1 megabyte of data, and that was like mind-blowing, and you're like, oh no. I'm laughing so hard right now. That's the only way you could
play the game if you entered the floppy disk because computers couldn't hold.
I remember we actually had it like when I was a little kid. It used to sit on our dining room table. It was just like a funny thing because my whole family, like, we're all gamers and stuff, and it's just something that we've always done. And so that was like
cool.
Look, we have like this really, really super ancient computer and you can play Oregon Trail on it. But if you wanted to play anything else on it, you had to like delete every file that was on it to put a new file onto it in order to play it. So it was like, there's no space on that thing.
What was your earliest game that you played?
Um, geez, the earliest game I played. I remember like a handful of my earliest games, but I don't know. What was the first game I played?
What was the first one that you were like really, really obsessed with and into?
The first one I was obsessed with, um, I played this game on the Sega Genesis, and it was called like Happy Bear or something, and it was like it was like a Toy Story kind of vibe going, where like when the humans go away, the
Mm-hmm.
animals, like the stuffed animals and toys and stuff, come alive, and
Mm-hmm.
you played as this bear that he came alive once the humans left because it was his owner's birthday and he wants to bake him a cake. So like everybody left and then the bear comes alive and goes like major like Splinter Cell Tom Clancy style, like jumping around the house looking for ingredients. You find like eggs in the attic and like your mixing bowl in the backyard guarded by a dog. Like this
I
bear.
would
Ooh.
play this game now, actually.
I actually it's on my list of games to play when I was a kid that I never could beat. Cause I was like
Oh
so
yeah.
small and I just didn't understand things and I didn't know how to beat the puzzles and stuff. So it's one of those games I want to find it again and find some way to play it so that I can just finally beat uh
I think
a game.
the same way when I was discovering like video games on the PC my parents had at home. I didn't understand that you were supposed to beat it, I think. I just thought it was
Yeah,
a
you just
game that you
played
would
it.
play it.
Yeah.
Um
I think that game and then I've told this story before, but my parents were big gamers and my mom, when I must have been like 6 or 7 maybe, when Diablo was out, and
mhm.
my mom was like 8 months pregnant and she was like, we're gonna go on an adventure together, and I was like, okay, and she pulled the lazy boy armchair up to the computer and sat me on her lap and we vanquished evil together. Like I like sat on her lap and she
Wow.
was like, and this is mana and this is a health potion and we're gonna go and we're gonna go out into the woods and we're gonna like destroy evil. And I was like, yeah, mom, let's do it.
That's so cool.
Yeah. What about you?
The girl
What is your like go to game? Because I think you said that you play a lot of games.
well, I honestly play a lot of board games, not a lot of video
Oh, I
games as
love board
much, but right
games.
now I am very into Animal Crossing like much of the rest of the world.
Nice,
Although
nice.
I'm not as into like I've talked to some friends who are like, "Oh, I don't want to go to your island because you're an artist and you're gonna like have this beautiful island." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I pretty much live very primitively still in
Mm-hmm.
Animal Crossing because all I care about is um, planting flowers
Mm-hmm.
and catching bugs and collecting shells. Like I'm not
That
really
sounds, yeah.
interested.
It sounds like
I'm
me.
not really
I
interested in terraforming or like
just doing
planning
whatever.
anything
Yeah,
out
yeah.
because as an illustrator and designer, I'm doing that all day. So I'm like, no,
Not
I
gonna
just
do
want
that.
to, I just want to plant flowers and then run through fields of flowers. My dream is for my island to look like a Miyazaki film where you're just
Oh
running the
yes.
flowers.
Oh
So
yeah.
whenever people come visit, they're like, wow, you have so many flowers. And I'm like,
And he like, I know. I did this on
I know that
purpose.
was not the point of the game because now things like rocks and stuff can't regenerate because I don't have any like blank areas. But that's what I'm playing right now.
That's awesome. Does anybody else in chat have any more suggestions for
Yeah.
um
What do you want to get in a care
yeah,
package?
for what can go in the care package? You could put a Nintendo Switch in the care package. I would love a Switch because I haven't played Animal Crossing yet.
And
Um,
I think they're really hard to get right now,
yeah, they are. They
right?
are really hard. But it's also like kind of like I feel like if I played Animal Crossing, my island would just end up looking like my desk. And by that I mean just a lot of stuff that I like piled all
Mhm.
together, but not really looking that nice.
Mhm. That's basically what happened to my island. I moved and got Animal Crossing at the same time and I was like, this is too much. I just have little stuff everywhere in my real life and in my Animal Crossing life. It was
Constantine says he'd like to get, or Constance says she would like to get photos. in the mail.
Oh.
Maybe family photos, or that would be
Aw.
cool. Like if you had, you know, those like Polaroid cameras you can get these days,
Mhm.
or you could just take pictures of some of the things you're doing in quarantine and send them to your friends. You know.
That would be cute, like a real life Instagram.
Tim says art supplies. Carolyn says
Oh
a
yeah.
camera and film. That's awesome. Brian Anderson says, "Good morning. I just recently found these live streams and I'm so motivated to be illustrating. Thanks so much." Well, that's awesome, Brian. I'd love to know
Oh,
what kind of
that's
stuff you
awesome.
illustrate. Jordan says, "That's kind of my island right now." Yeah. I feel like that's about what happened. Tim says, "A 12-month subscription for Creative Cloud. An Adobe CC subscription. Yes, that would be a great present to get."
Well, you would not need to mail that, would you?
I don't know. I think maybe like, because I recently got like a subscription to some of the apps that I haven't used yet, and I'm finding like I'm not particularly like, I'm not a master at them, but like kind of experiencing new Adobe apps have kind of opened my eyes to things other people do, and it's made me want to like dabble a little bit more in things like animation and all that stuff. So
Oh, that's true.
yeah, it's been pretty fun. Official Elements likes designing logos. That's awesome. I was about to ask what program this is because it's not dark mode. Yes, this is Photoshop.
Do most people use dark mode? I'm just an old school person, I guess, and I needed it to look like my classic
I
Photoshop.
definitely use dark mode. Yeah. I also want to give a reminder real quick that we will be reviewing portfolio reviews today in about an hour. So any of you folks who do any illustration or painting or drawing, if you folks would like to check out the portfolio review tab above the chat, you guys can get instructions on how to submit your portfolios to us, and two of your submissions, two of the portfolios submitted will be chosen for review during the last 30 minutes of the stream. So if you'd like to have a chance for Ann to kind of look at your work and give a little bit of feedback, this is your chance to do so. Alberto says, I joined the dark side long ago. Good man. Good man. We are all used to dark mode, Anthony assures you. I don't really see a lot of people using the light mode, to be perfectly honest.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I guess I'm either marching to the beat of my own drummer, or I'm just an old lady, which it could be both.
Could be both. Yeah, honestly, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
Lessa says, "Hey, Anne, add some chocolate into that care package." I agree. Definitely has to happen.
Such a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
I did get a package of chocolate, and from this company, this independent company called Honey Mamas in Portland, and they make the most amazing, I guess it's like raw chocolate that also has good digestive stuff. And basically, I think it's a health food.
But it's chocolate?
It's chocolate, and it's so freaking good.
That's awesome. That sounds amazing. Also sounds like a great excuse to like, no, this is health food. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is wonderful. I have to eat it for my health, you know?
What if you were on the iPad app watching? How do you get the portfolio application there? Well, you can join the Discord, because you can get the Discord app on your iPad, and we'll have somebody post a link to the Discord in the chat soon. If you go to the Discord and you post the link to your Behance portfolio into the portfolio review channel in the Discord, that is where everyone is basically submitting them to. So that's how you can do that mobily. And Ivan suggests maybe there should be some music in that care package, like add a harmonica or something.
Oh, that's cute. I love that the suggestions are all like things that we can pick up.
Yeah.
To start doing during this time.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the camera and the art supplies. I'm looking up what a harmonica looks like.
What like aside from gaming
Yeah.
and stuff, what has been the task that you yourself have been doing like a lot more of since you have been at home and
Oh, great
everything?
question. Definitely cooking.
Nice.
I think because obviously we are trying to eat at home more.
Mm-hmm.
And baking. I've rediscovered baking. Baking is my favorite thing to do to de-stress.
Nice.
But because I work full time for myself, it usually just stays at home and I eat it all. So I try not to do that too much um, before. But now that nothing matters anymore, I've gotten back to baking. Usually I do like a Sunday night de-stress baking. I've made a lot of cookies. I've also made cake. My husband's birthday was happening during quarantine as well, so I made him an angel food cake,
Aww.
and I make him one every year. But it's just like it's such a funny specific cake to make
Mm-hmm.
because it requires 12 egg whites and then cake flour. So now is not the best time to be looking for really specific things.
Yeah, like trying to get your hands on stuff definitely
Yeah,
is a
you
little
kind of
more
get what you get
awkward.
right now.
Yeah.
Um, but it still turned out pretty good, I think. And I've also made cobblers and I made bread pudding for the first time. A lot of it is just like, what do we have that we don't like? The making bread pudding and learning
Mm-hmm.
to make custard all came from having so many extra egg yolks and then
Mm-hmm.
also like having sourdough that was super stale, but I didn't want to toss it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just kind of using what you got. That's a
Yeah.
great way to um, get really creative in the kitchen. I think
So,
because it
yeah,
makes you try to like
yes.
totally solve problems. You
Yeah,
know?
it feels very much like um oh, it's okay to like experiment versus follow a specific recipe because
Yeah.
we only have what we have right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's way more, I feel way more creative because of that,
Yeah, absolutely. I
which is
agree.
great.
I think
What about
I've been
you?
doing a lot more like gardening actually. Like I've
Oh,
been doing a lot of gardening in my yard because I've had
uh-huh,
like this drawer full of seeds for like a year and a
uh-huh,
half that um I intended to plant them like several seasons ago and I just never did. And I was like, well, now I actually have the time where I can just like go into the yard and just, do my thing. So I have like a huge thing of like cilantro in my yard. I've got
oh
tons
my
of
gosh.
peppers and tomatoes. I have like a huge bush of chamomile tea growing right
Oh,
now.
that's so fun. Do you dry those flowers?
Yeah, and I
Make
make
tea?
tea. Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
I
You're
even have
inspiring me.
artichokes. Oh, thank you.
Oh my gosh, I love artichokes. They look so pretty too, just as plants.
They kind of look like alien plants to me a little bit. Like
They do,
they're
but I love
bizarre.
it.
Yeah, they're cool
I
though. They're
love
super
it.
cool. What about you guys? What is everybody in chat? What is something that you guys have been kind of pouring a little more time into since this whole era of work from home? What is something like an activity or something that you've gotten into? Either something that you maybe finally have time for now, or maybe something that you've just like newly discovered since this crazy time sort of began, and something new you've gotten into and it's like part of your routine now. Kit says, Anne, I'm drawing along here with my 5-year-old daughter. We love your books. We use them to
Oh,
learn about amazing women who aren't princesses. That's so cool.
that's so sweet. Thank you so much.
That's really neat.
That makes
Where
me
can
so
everybody in
happy.
chat find your book specifically? Like if they would like to pick it
Oh
up.
my gosh, they're available everywhere.
Awesome.
You can get them, on big retailers. And then one of my favorite retailers right now is bookshop.org,
Mm-hmm.
which is a website that you order books off of. And they give a portion of the sales to independent bookstores. So it's a great way to support
Oh.
independent bookstores who may not have the capacity to ship themselves because some are really small, and you could still help them, or I think you can order specifically for the store too.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could, of course, just order from your independent bookstore. And since some other major retailers are not prioritizing shipping books right now, I'd say that is your best bet. That's what I'm getting my books through now.
Nice. Yeah, Larry says, whoa, I need to find these books. Yes. Kit says, legendary ladies and bad girls throughout history. That's awesome. Let's see. Laura says, she's been using a lot of Illustrator since this began. Anthony has been watching a lot more of these live streams since everything began. Official Elements has been making YouTube videos. That's awesome.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I think a lot of people have been like kind of using this as a really interesting time to create more content for their own brands.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've been discovering YouTube.
Really?
I mean, I've just been using it more to learn new things.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I knew it existed, but at the same time, I'm discovering whole worlds of YouTube, like cozy YouTubes.
Mm-hmm.
Where
what's that?
It's like there are a couple women I follow who I think one is in Korea, one is in Japan, and one is in like rural China, and then one is in like in the countryside of England, and they'll be like just making really cute meals, or like one woman kind of homesteads to the extreme where she like has sheep that she's combing.
That's awesome.
They share what's growing in their garden. You never see them. It's like their hands doing stuff. There was one lady who was making like the meal from Howl's Moving Castle, like the fish pancake and stuff. And it was just so relaxing to watch. It's not necessarily instructional. It just has like a really calm, beautiful, cozy soundtrack on in the background.
Nice.
But I think right now I was like looking for coziness, and that was really cute. Just watching people who are really good at making things. That was really cool. And then I've also just been learning a lot of like how to sew. I've learned, but I haven't done it. But I was like, oh, maybe I'll make my own dresses during this time.
That would be awesome.
But you know, it'll take a lot. So I've been watching videos about it. That's the first step.
We'll see how it goes.
Cool. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. How long my patience with it goes. But I've just been learning so much stuff, and it's so funny because like even my parents have been on YouTube for so long, where my dad and my mom are learning how to make like cook a lot. They didn't cook a lot when I was growing up because they were always working, and now that they are retired and are in quarantine, they're learning how to cook a lot of things, and so they're sending me pictures of things they're making. And I actually cook and bake more than they do, so they're like, why is my cake so flat and stuff like that. Just cute.
That's awesome.
And then I mean, my husband has been watching so many woodworking videos because he wants to get into woodworking. We just bought a house, so he's really into like making the things for the house. He, again, also like me with my dressmaking, he's also just watching the videos. But one day I said to him, have you heard of this thing called YouTube? I'm learning so much on it.
Never heard of that. Please show me. Please introduce me.
Brilliant.
Official Element says, do we put our pictures in the portfolio channel in Discord? Not pictures per se. We're looking for Behance portfolios. So you post the link to your Behance portfolio into the portfolio review channel of the Discord. We're looking for like a full portfolio to review, and not just single images of work, because we're going to choose 2 portfolios to kind of dive into somebody's work and give them feedback on their portfolio as a whole. I got inspired watching Making the Cut on Prime that I kind of wanted to be a designer, but I'll stick to mastering Illustrator first. Hey, you could use Illustrator to design all kinds of stuff, so maybe they go hand in hand, you know? Jason Burley has been doing whittling. That's cool.
That is very cool. Okay, I'm adding one last thing, which is a lump of clay, because my ceramic studio that I love, Still Life Ceramics, sent me and a bunch of their students just like a box of clay at the beginning of quarantine with
Really?
tools so that we
Mhm.
could do stuff at home while the studio was closed, which I don't think we expected to be closed for so long because
Mhm.
we have to fire some of those things. Otherwise,
Yeah.
but you know, it was really, really sweet, and I love the way that people have just been able to stay connected while we are separated.
Yeah, I love ceramics myself as well. I was like a big fan of like raku firing.
What
Um,
is that? I'm so brand new to it.
Raku is like a Japanese technique for firing ceramics, and basically what you do is you there's like special glazes you can use that do like really interesting things to the ceramic. So you can get stuff that makes the ceramic look like alligator skin. And if you've ever seen
Whoa.
glazes that make things
Yeah.
look like
Mm-hmm.
they're like copper, you know,
Yeah.
things like that. And what you can do is you take it out of the kiln when it's like red hot, like when it's glowing like lava, and you put it into a barrel of combustibles. So if you have like a barrel
Whoa.
full of like dead leaves or
Mm-hmm.
bark or tons of newspaper and stuff, and just let it catch fire in the barrel and then put a lid on it, and it does weird stuff to the glaze. It's really, really neat.
That sounds so cool.
It's really, really dramatic and wild. You have to be very careful because you're handling stuff. Usually you would let things cool down when they're red hot, but you actually have to handle it while things look like
Yeah.
lava, and it's kind of scary. But it's pretty neat. It's pretty cool.
Do you do that? Do you have your own home ceramic studio, or
I
do
would
you do
like
that
to. I would love to,
the
but I
dream,
don't.
right?
Yeah, the dream, and also I don't know if I have like enough coordination to like do that, pull it off without a
Yeah.
hitch every time. Like it would make me nervous, I think. But
And I think
it's
the
fun.
maintenance is the thing that I'm like, oh, I don't want to maintain anything or know how to take care of a kiln.
Oh
I
yeah.
want to just, spin on the
Yep.
wheel and then
I'm
like
bad
hand
at
build and
it.
glaze.
I'm bad
Oh
at
my God,
spinning on the
I am
wheel.
too, but I liked it way better than I thought I would.
Really?
Like, sometimes I get frustrated when I'm not good at something right away, which I think is just we forget as adults because we don't try as many new things as we did say when we were kids, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll like lose my patience if I'm not great at something right away. But it's actually, I started taking a beginner wheel class at the beginning of this year, and it was just so zen. Like
Nice.
you have to be super present because if
Mm-hmm.
you're not, it falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like making something with your hands and you're touching the earth, and it just feels really nice.
Yeah. That actually
But
sounds a
I'm
lot more
terrible at
reaction
it.
than me. Yeah, I'm not good at it, but
I made
um
so many accidental plates when I was supposed to be making bowls.
I've been there. I've been there.
It
Constance
happened so fast.
Constance wants to know a little bit more about your process for working
Yeah,
through your piece, and maybe a little bit about some of the brushes that you're using today.
sure. Those are great questions. So I this is usually how I work too. I'll just do a sketch layer. That was the blue layer, like a rough sketch layer to
Mm-hmm.
kind of figure out my layout for something like this, where I knew my idea was going to be a box full of stuff coming out of it,
Mm-hmm.
of stuff coming out of it. That's all I came into this knowing, because I wanted you guys to see it kind of come together live instead of have it be so already done.
Mm-hmm.
And I just treated it like, okay, I knew I wanted to have elements, so I lay in the first elements. And now, as I'm going in and doing the final line work,
Mm-hmm.
which I named Finalish, I'm now kind of making it a more complicated, interesting layout. Since it will be a coloring book page, I'm trying to have a lot of little things that you guys can color in. And that's kind of how I work through a lot of compositions.
Nice.
And my favorite brush to use for sketching is the animator pencil.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like a real natural pencil to me.
Is that one of Kyle's brushes?
Yes, they're all Kyle brushes. And And then right now I'm using the Mr. Natural brush, which is also a Kyle brush,
Nice.
to do the final line work. I use these two brushes a lot. Even when I'm painting digitally, sometimes I'll use these like to get some more texture or variation. But those are great questions.
Yeah, this is looking really, really good. I love that you have used like the blue underneath. It always is like interesting to me how people do that in digital art as well as traditional art, because
Oh yeah,
back in the day you used to do a blue undersketch because for people who were doing like posters or comic books and things, if you did a sketch in light blue first and then you did dark liner over the top of it, when you scanned it into the computer, the blue would not show up in the scan. Because that's how it worked back then. You would scan it in, and then you would just have your brand new like totally clean line art over the top of the sketch, but none of the blue would be visible. So you would have like a scanned file of like a perfect line drawing, even though you did sketch it and like kind of map it out and plan it out. But I myself use like a lighter gray or a blue whenever I do my under sketches too, and it's always cool to see other people doing that because it's kind of like a shout out to different art times to me, which is interesting.
It's funny, this time I use blue. I actually use pink a lot just because pink is my favorite color.
Nice.
But I don't know why I chose to use blue this time.
I sometimes use like a rusty red color, which also kind of resonates with me a little bit. So sometimes it really just depends on like what the mood is for the for the piece. Yeah, Stacy, that's why a lot of people were doing blue sketching back in the day, because it would not show up on when everything was scanned, and so you would be able to either print out a piece and paint it, or you could send the file to your colorist, and it would not have any of the sketch lines in it. It would look perfect.
Yeah, it was. I think it's still called non-photo blue, that pencil.
Which is cool. It's just neat because I think I run into a lot of people that have never heard it, and I remember the first time I heard that, I thought that was really interesting. And they even make pencils nowadays for people who are still doing that technique, or for people who are more comfortable sketching in like a light blue. You can actually get super, super thin blue mechanical pencil lead. Which is really cool. I'm going to scroll through chat and make sure I didn't miss anything. Are these standard brushes that come with Photoshop? Yeah, all the Kyle brushes come with Photoshop now. So you can totally find these brushes. Yes, it is fabulous. Let's see. I feel that I'm very impatient learning new things, and I'll avoid learning something new because I know it's going to be bad for a while. Yeah, sometimes I have like things that I put off as well, Shauna, because I'm like, I don't know how to do this. How am I going to do it? Vic would like to
really.
Oh, go for it. No, sorry. I don't want to cut you off.
It does feel very overwhelming sometimes in the beginning too, where you're like, oh no, there's so much to learn. What did I get myself into?
Yep. And sometimes things like at face value don't look like they're going to be as complicated as they are once you like dig into it, and it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing?
And in some ways it kind of makes you learn. Like I was making macaroons, or trying to make macaroons.
Oh, I hear that's difficult.
How hard they were. And I was like, you know what? It's totally worth $4 a cookie, or however much they were. I was like, I'll pay it. I don't care.
I'll do it. Vic would like to know if you were working on an iPad, or what kind of tech you got going on for your setup here.
Great question. I am actually working on a Cintiq, which is what you can kind of see that I'm drawing on. It's a 22-inch HD, and then I have an iMac that it's hooked up to, and so I have my two screens, and that's basically it.
Nice. I have the little baby Cintiq. I have the 13 HD.
That's what I started off with.
Yeah, it's my very first like display for art, you know, and I do also use an iPad. Have you painted on the iPad yet?
I
Or
have, but not in Fresco yet. I have it downloaded, but I haven't used it. I actually haven't used my iPad very much since we've gone into car.
well, because you're probably able to sit at your computer.
Yeah,
You know, that makes
it's true.
sense.
That's a good point. I'm not like out in my co-working space or at a coffee shop or something.
Mm-hmm. Official elements, the replays. Some folks don't know this, but if you can actually scroll down below the info section underneath the video player, and there's a huge area where all of our videos and replays are organized. The first little rotating carousel you will see is actually our schedule, and you can scroll down there and it will show you what we have coming up next, what segment we're on now, and what we have coming on for like the next day or so. So you can kind of rotate through there and see what's coming up. And then below that, you'll see all of the replays for our previous broadcasts, and they're organized by category. So if you're looking specifically to look at some illustration segments, you can look at illustration specifically. If you want photography, you can look at that. There's a segment or a little section for UI UX design and graphic design, and so on and so forth. So it kind of makes things easier to navigate through and check out the kinds of videos you really want to see. Angelica would like to know what glove you were using and how does it help you?
This glove is called, does it have a name? I'll find out. Come back tomorrow and I'll tell you the name of it. But it helps because I have sweaty hands. And so it helps me move smoothly across the screen.
Gotcha.
And it's truly a lifesaver. I love it so much. You can easily find it. I think I just found it. I may have just Googled like Cintiq glove or something. But yeah, I love it. I use it even when I'm just like, sometimes when I'm painting traditionally with gouache paints, I'll still use it. I usually use a bridge for that, like just like a spare piece of illustration board. But I also that's the glove I'm using.
So you do like traditional art and stuff as well. Do you usually use gouache for that, or like what is your favorite way to do traditional work?
Oh yeah, gouache is my favorite for sure. When I discovered it, well, I have a long funny history with it. The first time I took it was for a color theory class. First time I used it was for a color theory class, and it was so hard to use because the color dries darker for most colors, but some dry lighter, and it's very expensive per tube. So as an art student, I was like, oh my god, what is this horrible thing? Like we'd have to paint color paint chips for color wheels and stuff, and here was a super expensive paint that dried different colors than what I thought.
And it's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Oh no.
But so I was like, I'm never using this again, it's terrible. And then a couple years later, I took a gouache class from this teacher who was amazing. He used to be a background painter at Disney and painted like all the backgrounds on like Hunchback of Notre Dame and that whole era.
Oh, wow.
And he showed us this piece that he did that was like the entire landscape, like for the panning sequence over Paris. It was just like one long piece he had painted by hand, and it was amazing. And I was just like, it's gorgeous. And just learning from him was so amazing because he was such a master at it. He is such a master at it. And I just fell in love with it. I love the way it looks matte and creamy. It started off in the 50s and 60s as a very popular paint for commercial artists because you could photograph it and scan it without a reflection. The way that you get, like, from acrylic or oil, you get kind of a glare or reflection. Fully matte, so you can scan it really easily. It dries quickly, so you can work quickly with it. And you can get very painterly, or you could get really watercolory. Like, it's an opaque watercolor, so you can water it down and get kind of the watercolor effect, or you could get that really flat painterly effect you might want to get.
It's actually something I've really wanted to try.
Oh,
Yeah.
You should try it. I think you like it. It's really fun. Like you just have to um get used to getting the consistency right is the trickiest part.
I
So
find that like because I used to do traditional art like predominantly, like that was what I
mhm.
did the most.
Mhm.
Um, and then I moved into digital art. And then I was only doing like digital art and ceramics. Ceramics was like the only kind
Oh,
of like
really?
traditional work that I was doing. And I found that like the times I've tried to like go back to doing like traditional painting, it's so different to me because I realize I have to wait for paint to dry and I can't paint
Yeah.
over things because paint mixes and stuff. And so
Yeah.
I'm always kind of like, what am I doing? Do I even know how to paint? What's happening?
Yeah, that's such a good point. Like just so with gouache there's not as much of a drying time
Mm-hmm.
as there is with other paints, which is why I think I like that's such a good point. I didn't even think about that because I do work digitally pretty much on all my commercial work, and
Mm-hmm.
I only paint for like gallery shows and for my books.
Gotcha.
So I switch between the two, but yeah, I think you're totally right. I like gouache because it is very quick,
Mm-hmm.
the same way we work digitally now.
Yeah, I've tried to use watercolor before and that did not go well. I was not good at that.
It's totally different. Like like with acrylic, even with gouache, you're working like you can add stuff on and then you can always paint over it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with watercolor, it's like you have to make the decision because you cannot erase or paint over it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really hard.
Yeah, I would think so. I've tried it and I was just like, well, gonna go hang out with
Yeah.
Photoshop. Gonna go do that.
I mean, good old Photoshop. I just love it so much, right? Like,
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And you
the
can still
layers.
get like that kind of like mixed
Yeah,
paint feel with a lot of the
for
settings
sure.
and things. It
It's
works.
so good now.
But I like being able to turn it on when I want it and not just having it
Yeah.
happen to me when I don't want it.
Yeah, it's nice to get off the screen sometimes too.
Yeah, definitely.
Like just
Um,
something tangible, it still feels different.
we've got a question here from Angelica saying, "Do you suffer from carpal tunnel, or have you ever had carpal tunnel?"
I actually do.
Really?
Being an illustrator for 10 years, I definitely suffer from carpal tunnel.
Yep.
But I've been able to manage it really well with acupuncture.
Oh,
Have
really?
you ever had acupuncture?
I have not. I've thought about it though.
I started it maybe a year and a half ago because my carpal tunnel was getting really bad, like
Mm-hmm.
really tingly.
Mm-hmm.
And I would wake up with my hands both numb and tingling. And I was like, this is really bad because this is my livelihood.
Yeah.
And obviously, Western medicine is usually like, you have to get surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I feel like I want to try something else to treat it before we get that bad because it comes and goes. Like there are
Mm-hmm.
definitely times where I'm working a lot and it flares up really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are times when so then I just have to take like a month off if I can to not.
To kind of recoup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, this is kind of unsustainable. But I physically couldn't work and it was actually making me really anxious too.
Mm-hmm.
So I just happened to hear about an acupuncturist and I had some other things going on that I was like, maybe let me try some Western or Eastern medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an amazingly gifted acupuncturist and she was able to help me and she still helps me, well, not right now, but she still helps me with the carpal tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And I get acupuncture and I get cupping, and cupping is amazing.
Oh, that's like the smoke in the cup. Is that what that is? Where
yes, they don't. That's the traditional way to do it with like fire,
mm-hmm.
but they have like guns now that they can just pull really fast to
nice.
apply the same pressure in the cups, and I like it so much better because like. Do you get this? Like my shoulders get super tight and sore.
Oh yeah.
Like I have blisters in
around
my neck.
Mm-hmm.
So, and all of that is connected to your wrist and your nerves. So, I started getting cupping, and I love it so much more than massage. Like massage feels nice, but once it's over, I don't think it helps as much. And maybe it's because I don't go as much as I would need to, since it can be pretty, pricey. But thankfully, acupuncture is covered under my insurance. And so I was seeing her like every week. and getting cupped, it feels amazing. It feels like this
Really?
giant octopus comes and holds up your skin for you, and then all this blood rushes to the area
Mm-hmm.
and nothing hurts.
Really?
I had not, it's very intense at first to get used to,
Mm-hmm.
but the feeling afterwards is amazing. Like I didn't realize how tense I was until I got that done. And then I was like, oh my God,
That's
I
so
haven't lived
interesting.
without the soreness
Mm-hmm.
for years.
But it's like a serious thing though, because when you sit at your computer all day, and I notice like I have like a really bad habit of like slumping and putting all of my weight on my left or on my right elbow because I'm right-handed, so I'm kind of like leaning into the work that I'm doing, and my shoulders start to get really tense, and then my neck hurts, and then my back hurts, and my arm hurts, and everything. Like it really like painting and doing
Takes a toll
illustrating
on you physically.
it really, really does. And it was not something that I was prepared for, because you hear people talk about it and you're like, yeah, but that, that won't happen to me. It doesn't matter sometimes, because everybody's different. So it doesn't necessarily only happen to people who are painting for 8 hours a day. It could happen to you if you spend an hour each day doing that, depending on your own body and how you're sitting and how you manage your posture and everything. So
like you could probably tell I keep trying to like sit up straight, because my tendency when I get into flow is just to like want to hunch over and be really close to my screen.
Oh yeah, like I'm guarding it. Yep.
Yeah. It's terrible. Like it makes it better if I'm closer. Like I can see it better or something. But yeah, you really have to take care of your body is what I've learned, because I was really getting to the point where I couldn't do any work because it hurt so bad all the time.
Yeah.
Or I couldn't sleep or stay asleep because my arms would hurt so bad that it was becoming very I couldn't keep going on that way.
Yep. It's definitely something that everybody should think about and manage. But I will also say we are in no way physical health professionals, so so like definitely please, if you guys
contact a professional.
Contact a health professional if you have any of those issues. But there's a lot of different things that work for everybody, because everyone's different. So but I think just as a general rule, physical health should be something that's on your mind, even if you work a job where you sit a lot, because most people don't think sometimes, I think, that that's something that you would need to think about if you have kind of, I guess sometimes people call it like a stagnant job, but I think that kind of sounds negative a little bit, because that's just weird. But yeah, if you sit a lot, it's still important to keep track of your own health, but definitely talk to a health professional about that. Let's see, maybe that's why Mac computers don't have touchscreens for ergonomics. I think some Mac products have like touch capabilities, don't they? I thought. I mean, I'm not a Mac person though. I'm a PC girl for sure.
I mean, like the iPad does, but
yeah. I know some of the laptops have interesting little touch bars near the screen. The MacBook Pros have like those cool little. It's like a quick access bar that you can like put stuff into, so you can like quick access certain things with your finger, and it's pretty cool.
That is cool. That must be on the newer versions.
So how is everybody doing during quarantine? I mean, we've kind of talked about what everybody's working on and stuff, or things that you guys have tried new, but I would love to hear maybe what creative projects people might be working on along with us today, like right now. If anyone is doing work and artwork in the chat along with us, Also, I'd like to do another reminder. If you folks are interested in a chance to get your portfolio reviewed, all you have to do is check that portfolio review tab above the chat and follow the instructions to submit your portfolios, because we will have the time to review 2 of them towards the end of the stream. I believe we're coming up on about 30 minutes until portfolio review. So if you folks would like to get in on that, definitely check out the tab above the chat. We are looking for Behance portfolios or Adobe portfolio links that showcase portfolios relevant to the stream. So if you folks are illustrators or painters or something like that, it would definitely be something that we could possibly review. But if you don't get selected for the portfolio review today, or maybe you're hanging out in here with us but you're not an illustrator, we do have other segments coming up today where different kinds of portfolios will be reviewed. And this is also something that we do every Monday as we can. So if you guys don't get a review today, there's always other opportunities for that. Laura says, I am working on a landscape project in Illustrator, but I'm having an issue with figuring out how to make nice textures. Textures is a tricky thing sometimes. I don't use Illustrator a lot, but I make textures in Photoshop sometimes, and sometimes my textures are like better applied in theory than in life. I sometimes have to noodle with things a lot. And have you ever made like textures? I know we were talking earlier about like making fabrics and things, but like have you ever made like a texture or a pattern for a project?
Well, I'll scan in textures to overlay my paintings to make them look more realistic digitally.
Like paper textures or just things you find?
Like papers or canvases or like any or photos that I take of like stuff I see in nature or something, depending on what like for a while in the beginning when I first started painting digitally, I would collect a lot of them. Now I just have a folder of go-tos that I usually use.
Mm-hmm.
And then with patterns, I don't do it to create textures though, but I do love creating patterns in Photoshop because it's so easy with the offset option.
Yeah. Portfolio posted. Realized I need to update it. Awesome, Ivan. Thank you for submitting. And Tim has posted the link to the Adobe coloring book. Definitely check that out. Let's see. Laura says, yes, it's hard. I'm trying to achieve nice grain texture, but it looks super flat and sharp. And Christy says, I do a lot of textile design, so multiple colors of basic patterns. Then I have a library I pull from for illustrations. Nice. Yeah, I think I also have like a big folder of resources on my computer that I used to like scan in stuff myself, or I would find really interesting textures like in nature, or get really cool textures from artist friends of mine that I've kind of compiled over the years. And before, where I used to like go out and make myself something or ask somebody for a resource, now I have like such a big library that I can kind of just go to my folder and get stuff. But yeah, I think it's the same concept because I've done it before, you know, and then now I just have the ones I know give me the effect I like, and I prefer to use things I'm familiar with.
Yeah. It's like having too many choices sometimes is not a great thing.
Yep. That's exactly right. I think I actually watched a study once that said, and this is really useful, I think, just for people who are doing like freelance and stuff, is that you give, if you give people more than 3 options, typically things become very overwhelming and they either will not make a choice or they'll make a choice that they're unsatisfied with. If there's more than 3 things. The study was done where they had like a table set out in front of the shop that said like free wine, and so you could choose between 3 distinctly different wines, and people would come up and they would you know take wine or juices and other things, and they typically like made a choice they were satisfied with and they were excited to choose from it. But when they did it another day and there were 40 different options, people typically either were like, no thanks, because the choices were very overwhelming to them, or they made a choice just on the fly because there's so many things available to them that it's not really easy to make a choice that you are, it's not an honest choice because you're overwhelmed. So I think
that is so fascinating.
I thought it was really cool just because at the time I was kind of learning how to freelance, and I realized I could apply that to clients. Like if somebody's having me design a logo or something and I have all these ideas, maybe I won't send them like 9 iterations of something that I made. Maybe I'll whittle it down to like 2 to 4 different items.
Oh, totally.
So that people aren't overwhelmed, because not everybody has like the design mind where you can make a bunch of different iterations of a project. And so it's probably good business to give people less options, even though you have more options to present.
It's like part of your job to help steer them in that direction, to like to curate that for them.
Yeah.
You know, like in the beginning, I was the same way, where I would send a ton of options because I wanted to feel like, I guess, that they really saw that I valued the work and was working really hard and wanted to give them a bunch of really good ideas. And yeah, most of those projects would get overwhelming for them, and they'd be like, can you just show me something completely different?
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I just showed you 12 options, but
and then you're like, I have to do more work.
Yeah, like the freelance, my favorite thing about freelance is like, that surprised me, was I loved learning about how people think and operate like that.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, obviously it's anecdotal too in our own experiences, so that's also interesting, because I do get overwhelmed when I have more than 3 choices. I'm like, I'm like I said, I just moved into a new house, so I'm doing some furniture shopping, and I'll be like, okay, I need this. I don't know where to start, and I'll start looking at stuff online, and then I'll get overwhelmed and just close the window and nothing gets accomplished because I'm too overwhelmed with the choices.
Yep. I'm the exact same way. I recently started decorating a room in my house, and I realized I was like, oh, I'd like to put some happy curtains in this room. And I got on Amazon and I was looking, and I realized, like, I saw like a handful. I was like, oh, these are nice. And then I started like going down the rabbit hole of like hundreds of different options. And I think it took me like 3 months to actually order curtains that I wanted, because there were so many options for me that I couldn't like stand to look at them.
Yeah.
Which is super weird.
No, I felt the exact same thing, and I ended up just getting all white curtains because I was like, I can't think about this anymore. Like, white is, at least will still have really nice light, and I won't be like looking at it all the time going, oh, why did I pick, like, white is such a non thing. It was almost like I just need to pick something to solve the problem of direct sun, but also not have to think about it ever again.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing, human brains, the way they work and the way that we solve problems. It's very interesting.
I love it.
You know, yeah, it's I love it too. Sometimes it's frustrating to me, but you're right. Like a lot of kind of freelancing in design and stuff is about understanding how people think and how people interact, because of course you want your work to be relatable and understandable, especially with people who are doing like illustrations and telling stories with those illustrations, or people who are doing like UI UX design. Like, how do people naturally want to use an app? And you have to really put yourself in that mindset. So it's very interesting kind of thing that I think maybe a lot of people wouldn't think of right off the bat when it comes to making art and designing things. But people are like the most important element, really.
Totally. And also it's like design and illustration art is communication. And so it's learning to be a really effective communicator, which is definitely a skill as well.
Yeah, definitely. I had a really profound kind of like, I guess, like moment of clarity recently with my own work, and kind of like realizing how much of it was communication with other people. And I kind of wanted to start making some of my paintings more like storytelling kind of paintings instead of just doing like portraits and stuff. And I found that one of the coolest ways, or easiest ways, and most like I guess useful ways for me to understand storytelling and communication with art was looking up directing films. And looking at like composition of how directors tell a story with the camera, and how things are shown in that way. And that was something that that was really eye-opening to me. It's like sometimes you don't even learn that communication from things within your own medium, you know? It's films a lot of outside stuff.
Yeah, films are such good things to study for visual communication.
Very, very useful. Andrew Applepie, great songs from Val. Oh yeah, we listen to a lot of Andrew Applepie and Chill Hop Radio here on Adobe Live. A lot of chill, soft, kind of groovy music. It's good stuff. And occasionally we have an appearance by the Cat Song. There's like one song on this playlist out of like 400 songs. Everybody knows when the Cat Song is on because it has like soft meows in the background, like as part of the track. And I feel like it's so famous on this channel that people are like, oh, so I hear the cats. The Cat Song is on. The smooth grooves of DJ Paco. Yes, indeed. Yes. All right, we've got maybe 20 minutes now before we do the portfolio reviews. So if any of you folks would like a chance to have your portfolio reviewed and get some artistic feedback from Anne, definitely check out that portfolio review tab above the chat because we are going to pull up a couple of those and dig into them. Amir says, what films or movies do you like? What are some of your favorite films, Anne?
Oh my gosh. I love so many films. I really love Wes Anderson films visually and also storytelling wise.
Yeah.
My favorite movie is I love Amelie.
Oh my gosh, yes, it's so good. We're friends, so right? We could be best friends now. We could be. Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
I love that film.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet is such a good director. And I also love, let's see. I mean, Legally Blonde is also one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
It's a really well-written movie.
It's a staple.
It is. And let's see, what else do I love? I really love classic movies. Some of my favorites are Singing in the Rain. I love the costumes in a lot of old movies. So I love like the Ziegfeld Follies and Funny Face. It's really fun. I just watched All About Eve for the first time last night.
Nice.
It's fun. It's interesting because women were portrayed very differently back then in terms of like women were allowed to be 40. Look 40. And it's fascinating because there were just a lot more like strong female characters that we emphasize so much right now as like, oh, so revolutionary, but it's like we actually used to do that all the time. What about you? What are some of your favorite movies?
Let's see. I really love Studio Ghibli films, obviously.
Oh yes. Have you ever been to Japan?
I have never been. I would love to.
Oh my gosh.
Though I would really love, because I know they have the
museum.
like the park. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
really cool.
They're about to open the park, I think, in 2021.
Really?
But I went to Tokyo for the first time 5 years ago, I think, and then I went like 2 more times because I loved it so much. It's so inspiring to go as an artist. But they have the Studio Ghibli Museum. But what's cool about the museum is it's set up like their workspace. So you go through rooms that are actually just like you're in their studio and it's their desks and it's piles and piles of poster paints and jars of like cigarette butts,
like they've been like working there.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Like that. and they'll have like plates of cheese and like snacks. And then they have all the like storyboards pinned up because they actually watercolor them.
Yeah.
Nuts. So you would love that. And then they always have some special exhibit going on. Once I went, and it was a adult size cat bus that you could sit in.
Oh my gosh.
So fun.
Oh,
and
I would love
another
to.
time, it was they kind of recreated some of the kitchens from the movie, so you could walk through and see like fake food being made from the movies. So that was really cool. So it's like one of the coolest museums I've ever been to, and especially if you're a huge Studio Ghibli fan, it's like awesome.
Yeah,
I just loved seeing like artist studios.
Oh yeah, so definitely seeing how people work and
everything. And just like how messy they are, or like, you know, their trays of snacks, things like that.
Jurgen says, what? Val was asked what movie she likes, and the first answer wasn't Star Wars. I know. I know.
Are you a big Star Wars fan?
Big time. Like, as in, I don't want to get into it because then somebody will send me a message internally and be like, can you stop making every stream about it? And I'm like, sorry.
You like
sorry about
it. Like, though.
Yeah, I know. But I do really love Studio Ghibli films, and I have always really loved. I mean, I say Princess Mononoke is my favorite film from Studio Ghibli, but it's actually kind of tied between Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away. Those are really really good.
Oh, I love Spirited Away.
It's really just great, and I would say like a close second or third is probably Nausicaa, which is one of the older ones. But Nausicaa specifically for like, I wouldn't say I like the story as much as I like some of the other films, but the painted backgrounds in Nausicaa are some of the most inspiring pieces of art I've ever seen in my life. Because she had like, they do like Nausicaa. It's like the world is kind of like people don't live the same way anymore. They have it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I think basically like the forests are like poison now. You can't go into the forest, so people like live out in the wastes, and you have to wear a mask if you do venture into the forest because there's all these new plants and like ancient creatures that live in the forest now, and the spores from those plants are poisonous. So during the scenes where characters actually do venture into the forest that are basically untouched by human beings and have been for a super long time, where things have started to like evolve and develop into new things since before humans were there, the plant life and the flora and fauna and all of those paintings for those scenes are so incredible. You could it's like a Where's Waldo kind of thing. Like you could look at them and stare at them for hours and find new things in them constantly. It's so cool.
I need to watch that one again.
Oh yeah, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. It's incredible. Let's see. That surprised me also, Jurgen, but it might be for something worse. No, I do still love Star Wars. Don't worry, I can. Christy says, the stained glass windows are my favorite part. I brought greeting cards from the Kiki's delivery service. I think Christy has been to the museum for Studio Ghibli.
Those are so cool. Those are very, very cool.
Oh, no.
Which one is your favorite Star Wars movie?
My favorite Star Wars movie is tied between Empire Strikes Back and Rogue One. Surprisingly not the ones with Kylo Ren in them. But I do really like...
Is that your favorite...
It's one of my favorite characters. I like his character development a lot.
Okay.
But I do really love the old ones, and I think Rogue One was cool just because you got to see the classic stuff done with like new graphics, which was neat.
Yeah. I think that's so funny. It's so divisive, but I love hearing.
Claudix says that he was going to go to the Ghibli Museum in March, but his flight was canceled. Oh no.
You know what?
That's unfortunate.
Fine. You'll just reschedule, and then the amusement park will be open. And then you can go then.
Yeah.
2 in 1.
Be awesome. Brand new adventure.
Yeah. There are better things ahead.
Like is an understatement. Yes, we know, Tim. We know. Yeah, it's one of the good ones. It's one of the good ones, Anthony and Ivan. Let's see. We've got about 10 minutes here before we jump into portfolio review. So I would say now is like the last call for folks to get their portfolios in to the portfolio review tab, and then Anne and I are going to actually pull up the portfolios and dig into and dig into them and kind of give you folks some feedback. Just missed the pandemic. We came home from Japan about 1.5 years ago. Oh wow! So you went and saw all the stuff before everything really started happening. That's crazy. Also, hello Gus. It's good to see you.
Hi Gus.
Yeah, I'd like to go there someday too. Claudix, I would love to see it. I was like growing up, I was really big into anime and watching Japanese films and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch like all the Zantoichi films when I was a kid. They were like the Blind Samurai movies. They're like really, really old, and it was like about this guy that traveled the countryside in Japan, and he was like super skilled sword fighter, but he was completely blind. And I used to watch those old films when I was a kid. They were like like the old
Mm-hmm.
Japanese films where you can still see like the bits and pieces of like the like film residue like on the screen and stuff like it was like that. And so I grew up watching those, and so when I got into high school I was like, I'm gonna learn how to speak Japanese. Didn't do it because I just didn't do it, but I would have loved to actually speak Japanese and visit, but maybe I'll do it one day if you guys recommend it.
Maybe now you'll
get on that Duolingo.
I actually don't. Yeah, I actually don't speak Japanese either, but I learned a couple things. Yeah,
nice.
They're
okay.
Still it's very. If you stay in like the major cities like Tokyo and Kyoto, which is where we went, it's you can get by.
Okay.
I mean, it's good to learn some customs that are specific to their culture because they have very specific. It's always good to do that.
Wherever you go, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, they have definitely very specific cultural things, and it's just good to know ahead of time. And yeah, other than that, like, then you can kind of understand and navigate more easily too.
Yeah, that's a pretty good rule of thumb. I think I would really love to visit though. I think that would be awesome.
I loved it.
Lindsay says
it's the most inspiring place.
Does anyone use the Microsoft Surface? I've been looking at the new Surface Book 3 that comes out in a few days, but just wondering if anyone has experience with them. I used a Microsoft Surface for a time, but I did end up just getting an iPad because I liked working on an iPad better. What about you, Anne? Have you ever used a Microsoft Surface for creating art?
I haven't. I just use an iPad if I use a tablet. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Maybe somebody in chat can give you a bit of advice on that. Hello, Anna Bruckett. It's good to see you. Christy says, I've studied Japanese for years and minored in it, and I'm awful at conversation. Oh no. Yeah, I heard sometimes with learning new languages, what really kind of hits home as far as like finally getting into like a fluent mode for it is really just traveling and using it in that country, or visiting somebody regularly and using it in conversation constantly with somebody who's more familiar with it, because sometimes studying it, like, it doesn't give you all of like the subtle nuances of the language you might get if you were talking to a native.
It's so true. I studied French in college, and like up to the level where I had to write papers for literature classes in French, but when I can't speak conversational French, and I have to really focus when I'm trying to understand it. But I can read it, like I can read all the signs and everything.
You know what it is.
On the other hand, my first language was Mandarin because my parents
Really?
are from Taiwan, and so I can understand Mandarin like I understand English, just totally fluently.
Oh,
But
wow.
I can't really read any
Any
Chinese
Chinese?
characters,
Hmm.
and it's just so crazy to me that how different it feels, even though they're both foreign languages.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, I speak like conversationally Mandarin with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but oops,
I do that
but
with the gradient tool all the time when I'm like,
like
what have I
yeah,
done?
everything is gone now. And yeah, it's crazy. It's like different parts of your brain. And also, I wonder if it's because I learned that. I think I've read or heard that if you learn a language before you're 14, it's easier for you to absorb it.
Hmm.
So obviously, I learned as a kid, and it feels like fluid and natural to me. Whereas when I'm speaking in French or Spanish, which I took in high school, it's like I have to think about it.
Mm-hmm. You have to like
That makes sense.
translate it in your head and
Yeah,
work
translate it
through
in my
it.
head exactly. And
Very
I never do.
interesting.
It's so interesting.
That's kind of funny that you say that because like I never really learned Japanese, but I have like some basic conversational skills that I've never
Mm-hmm.
forgotten because I was taking the class when I was like 12. So like
Yeah,
those tiny tidbits I haven't forgotten, but like when I looked at it years later, I was like, how did I even get through that, and why do I remember these tiny pieces that like aren't gonna help me if I travel there? But when I try to learn new, more useful phrases now, I'm just like,
you
like so
never know. It might be helpful.
maybe.
Yeah.
I literally only know how to say like, hi, this is my name, and I don't speak Japanese very well, just to
You
let
know
them
what?
know.
That's actually very helpful because when I went to Japan, my husband is a very tall white man,
Mm-hmm.
but he actually learned a little bit of Japanese before we went so that he could communicate a little better.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little better about things like that. And but we would go into a store and they would look at me and talk to me because I'm
Mm-hmm.
obviously Asian, and I'm like, "Oh." And I didn't even know how to say I don't speak Japanese.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's so
So,
funny.
so obviously I learned how to say it. But so those phrases you need, you
Might
know,
actually
are going
need
to be
them.
very helpful. Yeah.
Awesome. Been using the Surface Pro 7, so more of the tablet kind. It works really well, but also depends on the processing power you're looking for. Yeah, I think that was my thing, Brandon, with the Surface that I had is I was kind of using it kind of like a laptop, and I had like Photoshop on it, and I had Premiere and After Effects and stuff on it, but like for me it ended up not really being worth it because the processing wasn't fast enough for my liking, and I ended up getting like a lot of like buffering and stuttering when it came to using my app. So I figured I would either rather have an iPad where I could use like the mobile apps on them, or if I really wanted like a mobile device that I could use After Effects and stuff on, I'll just as soon get like a laptop, because I didn't want to pay like I feel like I could get a laptop for probably less money than it would cost me to get like the highest powered Surface Pro, with all of the processing power that I wanted. So I made the decision just to, I think I resold it, and then I got an iPad so I could use Fresco and Adobe Rush on my iPad, which I use frequently. And that for me has been the best bet. But some people do prefer a Surface, because some people, they have different workflows and they're doing different things, and that is that just works for them. Let's see, we got just a couple minutes here, and then we are going to jump into portfolio reviews. And I think, Anne, I sent you
Mm-hmm.
the portfolio
Yes.
stuff, and I do want to double check because I think that we're actually capturing your window for Photoshop and not your display. So I might have to switch to my
Sure.
computer, and then I can show the portfolios on my view, and then you can have yours up though, so you can see them, and we can basically be looking at the same thing.
Perfect.
So that will work. But we'll switch over to that in like a minute or so. And let's see, Kit is saying, will the art Ann is currently making be available for download either here or in a future Adobe coloring book? Well, I'll pass that one over to you, Ann, because you can answer that better than I can.
It should be available next week in the Adobe coloring book.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm excited. I'll probably snag one of these and color it up because I feel like
I'd love to see what you do.
I feel like connected to it because I got to be here for it, you know. So I kind of want to do that.
It has your cheese plate.
Mm-hmm. It's got my cheese in it, so definitely I'm gonna have to. It's also got my baby pickles. So if I don't have time to color the whole thing, I might at least just color in those pickles just because I love them. And I think they're adorable and perfect. So
thank you.
I like their little bumps. They're very sweet. Oh, thank you, Tim, for posting the link there. And yeah, we are gonna jump over real quick to let's do the portfolio reviews. I'm just gonna pull this up right here. Awesome. So this is, let me full screen this right quick. Awesome. So this is the first one that I'm looking at is Mari Pili. I hope I didn't butcher that name. But we've got, this is really beautiful. Or do you have it up where you can see it now?
Yeah, I have it up.
These are some gorgeous colors and illustration. This is awesome. I love this.
I love the way you do portraits, Mari Pili.
Yeah.
It's so unique, and I love this flea bag portrait. I love this. I love that you have like kid art with the kid on the top left, and then you have fashion illustration inspired work. It looks beautiful, and I love the way you drew that the face on the girl with the purple hair.
Oh yeah,
with the freckles and the details on that.
Yeah, very very cool. Do you have one specifically that you might like to open and jump into? Or
let's open this cat project.
The cat pillow? That is so cute. I was looking at that one too. The Maneki Nekos. That is so
let's click
cute.
on that.
All right. I'm just kind of scrolling through it so we can see how it's presented, and oh my goodness. This is beautiful. There's a Sailor Moon cat. There's a
Yeah, it's so cool. Like there were even little cats inside.
There's like a Jake from Adventure Time. Oh no. There's a Thanos cat, and you win. You just win. This is great.
I love that you made them. Like not only had the concept for the art, but you also made the physical.
Yeah.
Which is so always great to show in a portfolio.
Oh my gosh. I love the mermaid ones that were made that have like it looks like there's fur on one side of them. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they are really cute.
Is the one with the jewel on the head, is that like a Sims cat?
I don't know.
Oh, there's a Jake and Finn. Oh my gosh. These are amazing.
Oh.
There's a
Freddie Mercury and David Bowie.
Yes. The little Ziggy Stardust.
This is too cute.
Oh no,
I
these
love the
are
cat
great.
Mickey. That's great.
I love the Pickle Rick that's included on the Rick and Morty ones. And the Sailor Moon. These are great. You actually like legitimately made like all of them. Is that a John Wick cat? Is that what I'm seeing? That's what it looks like to me.
It does look like a John Wick.
Under the Mickey cat?
Yeah.
Please confirm or deny. Is this a John Wick Neko cat? Because this is great. The Woody and the Buzz, Kaz Lightyear, Caddy. Oh my gosh. I like that they have like names.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love all the punny names.
There's a Gamora and a Thanos and an Iron Man.
That's amazing.
Cannot handle. Do you have any I mean, I know that we're like gushing about it, like, oh my gosh, these are incredible, but do you have any like feedback as far as even the presentation of the project?
Yeah, I would say maybe I see about 1, 2, 4, 8, 9, 10 pieces, and they are, except for the cat, um, personal project, a lot of them seem to be portraits.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say maybe add some variety in the way they're presented.
Mm-hmm.
Either like I'm going into the girl in movies one now,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool. It's got,
let's see, girl in movies. Oh, a separate project.
yeah.
I'm looking for which one. Is that the title of it, Girl in Movies, or
Yes, it's right. It's the third one.
the third one?
It's the second one.
Oh,
on
here.
the left column.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You have so much great content under each tab.
Yeah.
That's so diverse. I'd love to see some more of these diverse women that you have in here.
Yeah.
Just to show your range even more on the front page, like as the thumbnail.
Yeah, definitely.
Suggestion
yeah, because I think maybe when I look at the thumbnail, I think it might just be showcasing this one piece that's up at the top, but then I open it and there's like tons of different things.
Yeah.
And this is just really great. I think, is that Emily with the teacup? Is that what that is? Or am I mistaking that for something?
It reminded me of that. I think it is Emily.
Yeah.
Very cute. And I think it's just, your style is so great and unique, and I love that you show it both in black and white and in color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like
show more of it on the front page to like lure people in.
Yeah, definitely. Like maybe a collage of sorts or something to indicate that there's like a huge collection within the project, because I don't think I would have known unless I click on it.
Be just this one image.
Yeah, and I think you've done like a really good job of kind of showcasing a lot of different things, because something that I see that's really common with a lot of people who are putting together large kind of collections of work all into one project is and maybe this is a personal thing for me, but like one of my pet peeves is kind of seeing somebody that's showcasing 20 different paintings and they're all full screen, so I have to scroll through every single one of them in order to look through all of it. But I love here that you have all of your pieces kind of organized into galleries, so if I see one that really strikes my fancy, I can actually click on it and full screen that one, so I want to see it, instead of kind of forcing me to wade through and then I'm in like this never-ending long scroll and I have no idea when it's going to end. If that makes sense. Not that, I don't like looking through a lot of people's artwork, but I kind of like to be able to scroll through and see the scope of a project when I'm getting to know a new artist or getting to know a new project somebody I really like has posted. And the fact that I can kind of look through and be like, oh, wow, there's a lot, and then say, oh, hey, this is Domino, I think, from Deadpool, and I can just like, I want to click and see the domino, because I really like that, and then I can scroll through and click any of the other characters, like, oh, there's a Furiosa, I'm gonna click Furiosa and check that one out. I think it kind of gives your viewers more of a experience, if that makes sense. So very nice. Mari Puli says, yes, it was John Wick. By the way,
nice.
The John Wick cat, so that's great. Nice. I would love to have one of the John Wick ones.
I think thing you could do to it would just again be the presentation of it. I clicked on the Fleabag illustration, and then which is fantastic. And then underneath are three other fan art illustrations. I think I'd separate that out into.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
You know what I mean? Unless, like, if you were making all Fleabag fan art from, like, all the other different characters, like her sister and the hot priest and stuff, keep that all under one Fleabag. But, like, I would love to see this Stranger Things of the two girls, like, on your front page and the Sansa on your front page. Like, I guess the theme is that they all have tattoos. Is that the theme? Like, maybe but Rosalia doesn't. So I think it'd be cool if you combined the themes a little bit and gave yourself a little bit more space to naturally connect them, I guess.
Yeah. And it's all about, I think honestly, putting together projects on Behance is something that I struggle with sometimes too, like
Me
how
too.
best to present a lot of work. And
Yeah.
sometimes it just takes like some noodling for how to present, but it's always good, like, just to, you know, like, do what you did today, is like get some feedback and see like how do people naturally want to view your work. I think it's very
Yeah.
similar to like user testing and UI UX, is like, okay, I've done it, but now like how do people naturally want to navigate my portfolio?
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's like your work is so cute and so charming and so distinct. And I love seeing so much of it. Like the first thing I thought when we looked at the portfolio, I was like, oh, this is so cute. I wish there was more of it. And then I opened up stuff and there's way more of it, which I love. And I think you can have a little bit more balance where you break them into more distinct groups.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think when I come to your portfolio, one thing that strikes me is looking at your projects, thumbnails and stuff, I would never think that opening these would have as much work in them as they do. Because the thumbnails don't hint at that. So maybe do some experimenting with how you present your thumbnails. Is there any more, like maybe one more project you might like to take a look at for this portfolio before we jump to the next one?
Yeah, let's look into, let's click on that Cool Girls, that one you're on right now.
Yeah, the purple one.
Yeah.
That was the one that really caught your eye, I think, like big time. And I do love like how I think my favorite part is like the lines of the hair and stuff.
Yes.
For this, it's just so cool.
Yeah. I love all the freckles. Like I love when people put in the things that you don't necessarily always see in paintings that exist on all of us. Like lines and freckles and hair and
it's tattoos. It's very like personal in a way.
It's very distinct. Yeah.
Like it wasn't like you didn't just like invent a lot of characters, like you really drew a lot of these things from life, and they kind of, it's like a really stylized kind of interpretation of like real women, you know, like real bodies and real skin and, you know, all that kind of stuff, which is just really, it's very relatable and it's kind of refreshing, you know?
Yeah, and I love that the tattoos are so well thought through too. Each little illustrations in themselves. And I love the juxtaposition of the toughness, but also the softness.
Yeah, they're very tough girls, but also very feminine.
Yeah, everyone has that in them, that toughness, the masculine and the feminine. And I love the showing of these kind of, they do feel very much like real people.
Yeah.
Or real people can relate to and feel seen, like see themselves in art. So I love that in your work and keep doing that aspect of it.
Yeah, this is really great.
It's gorgeous and I love your style.
So well done. That was Mari Pili or Olga Murillo. I hope I did not butcher that last name, but it's really cool. Very cool name. And thank you for sharing your work with us.
Thank you so much. It was such a joy to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, oh, Tim just said, oh my gosh, I can hear the cat song. The cat song is on right now. You can't hear the cat song, but it's the meows are afoot. The next one that we have is Gabriella Emmerich on Behance. And this is, I think right off the bat, this is such a warm and inviting kind of portfolio.
I was going to say warm too.
Very cozy.
It feels very cozy.
Yeah.
I love warm and cozy.
What jumps out to you at first that you'd like to take a look at?
I actually love that first one of the pigs and
the little pig,
sleeping boy.
Yeah, let's do it.
Or sleeping person.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I love how the trees and bushes and things are accented with like those simple squiggles, but just the different shades and hues that were used to make those lines add so much more depth to the textured trees, with the light and the dark kind of contrasting in places. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I love those too. I also love the beams of light you have coming through. It's very like I always forget about lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see it done well like this, where it's graphic but fits the illustration, like it's graphic, but it really like focuses your attention. It's well done.
Yeah.
It's very charming. I love the way the pigs are drawn.
I like the pig snoring. I always like, I don't know, it's not something that I ever do in my own work, but like cute, adorable characters that have like that snoring mouth that's like way over on the side of their head.
Yeah.
Like that. It's so cute. I love it.
I love it too. And I love that one has its mouth all the way to the side too.
Just like, yeah.
You're right. I think it's so charming, but at the same time, I don't do it ever on my own.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things I appreciate, but it's not necessarily my style, but like it definitely like strikes a chord in me when I see it, you know?
Like really pushing the character expression.
Yeah. All right. Maybe we can choose another one and see what else we can dive into. Is there any other one that like kind of grabs your attention?
Let's look at the one right next to the Maya with the buildings and the cars.
Buildings and cars. Let me scroll through and find. Oh, gotcha.
It's the second
Maya,
one.
yeah. Ooh, I love that opening text.
Yeah.
Right there. That is really cool.
I love the way that everything is brown and has a blue highlight.
Yeah.
That feels very fresh and charming.
It's very like rustic patina kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I love this.
And it feels, I don't know if you illustrate children's books or you're interested in doing that, but your work is so well suited for it.
Oh yeah. You know what I really like about this, and it's not really specifically like pertaining to the actual art style or anything, but I've seen a lot of projects that are presented where a lot of this kind of traditional style artwork is added into the Behance project, and sometimes it's not really very cleanly applied, but this, like, I'm looking at the edges of this work and it's all very cleanly cut and very nicely done. It makes it like, because I don't want to say that like the artwork itself is not clean, because it's definitely very textured and organic, you know, and has like a very unique
But the presentation
thing.
Is really clean.
Exactly. Right? Like the presentation is so thorough and seamless. Yes, that's a perfect word to describe it. I'm very impressed. Because this has to have been like hard to do, especially because I'm assuming that this was done traditionally, yeah,
it looks done traditionally, and if not, then you did an amazing job making it look very hand done.
But I imagine it would be like very difficult to really get around the edges of something that's like so flowy and organic to paint, and then make it look as clean and nicely organized as this. So this is a really cool project.
Beautiful work.
Yeah, very, very well done.
I really love the way you use the colors in here to tell the story.
Yeah, that blue is definitely really, really nice compared to like the earthy colors. I mean, I think they're all like pretty earthy colors, even the vibrant blue, but the blue is like such a perfect shade that it's just really, it's working. Yeah. Very nice. All right, I'm gonna keep track of our time here. We probably have enough time to maybe look at one more from Gabriella. So whichever one you gravitate to the most.
Let's look at this one called Lux. That looks like a girl who's a little witch.
Okay, yeah.
Because you know, cute. I love witchy stuff. So.
Oh, me too. You and me both.
I love seeing this sketch for her.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love the little standalone, like, borderless kind of piece, too.
The spot illustration?
Yeah.
I love the way you use the lines as accents.
Oh, yeah.
The same way you noticed on the trees.
Yeah.
I love the way that you're doing this, Gabriella, where you, like, use it to detail and stuff, and then you also use it to draw and stuff that isn't painted in. It just makes it very dynamic feeling.
Yeah. This is really cool, and it's got so much like lovely texture and things, and it's just, it almost like, I almost can like feel the texture of like pastel or like textured color pencil or something, while I'm looking at this. It's just very, very cool. I feel like your colors are chosen really well too, because they're not so dim that you can't pick out what the subject matter of the piece is, but it's not so bright that it's it doesn't exactly, that's a perfect way of saying it. It's like it's not muddy at all, and it just, especially this spot illustration, this is just perfect. All these so shades
cute. I love the way that your traditional painting work looks very similar to your digital work. Like the textures feel the same, the translation of the line work and everything feels very much your style. And then I love the way you highlight with like a bright neon color. Like you have yellow highlights on her on this one to exemplify the fairy glow. Maybe? So it's all really, really good color choices. I agree with you. Like color is a really tricky thing to get a handle on, and it looks like you have such
pretty
a great
good
handle on it.
Yeah, this is awesome. I think that is all the time we have for portfolio reviews now. We've got just a handful of minutes before Ann and I take off, so I'd like to take these last moments. I'm going to pop back over to your screen, and I am going to let you kind of recap what you did today, what the purpose of the piece was, and how you did it, and then maybe we can also go over where everyone can find you before we take off.
That sounds great.
Go for it.
All right, so here's where we landed. I'm going to refine this some more before we upload it to the Adobe page for you guys to color in. But I wanted to just gather a bunch of ideas of things we could send to each other physically while we cannot be together physically. So we have flowers, we have like a cheese plate that you could put together, or a specialty snack thing you could put together maybe to send to your friends who don't live near you. Puzzles, like once you're done with the puzzle, you could pass it on to another friend. We have Polaroids for pictures of yourself, or I drew this disposable camera that you could probably send to a friend, and then you could take photos in this. It's something you could do that off this digital world that we're living in. You could do it off screen. You take photos to document your time. In quarantine, I have clay and paint art supplies so that you can pick up new hobbies, chocolate, of course. We have books that you can also, I'm reading a lot, and then you could send those books along to friends. And then obviously everyone's always happy to get flowers, right? I love getting flowers. And then it's all coming out of a package that says "To you with love." So hopefully you feel the love and joy when you're coloring this page in.
Yeah, I can't wait. So this is going to be available next week so that other people, all of you folks, can get your hands on it and color it in as part of the Adobe coloring book, which is very exciting. Now, where can we find you online? Like, where is the best place to find your work? And also where, like you mentioned earlier, where can we find your books? Because you're also the author of a couple really wonderful books.
Yeah, you can find me online again on Instagram and on Twitter at Ann Danger. Instagram is probably the place where I'm most active, posting behind the scenes and little paintings I'm doing.
Okay.
You can also find me on Behance at Ann Shen, and ann-shen.com is my website. I have a mailing list on there where I send out like special things. So if you want to sign up and stay super connected, that'd be great. I don't send out a ton of emails. And you can find my books wherever books are sold or wherever you like to buy your books. But like I mentioned earlier, I like bookshop.org right now because it helps support independent bookstores during this time.
I'm going to actually pull up bookshop.org because you seem very, very passionate about it. So I'd love to just highlight it so people can find. And then give me a title of your book and we can pull it up.
Oh, yeah. The title, that'd be helpful. My first book is called Bad Girls Throughout History.
All right.
And then,
I'm going to pull one up. There we go. I'm going to pan over here. Bad Girls Throughout History. This is gorgeous. I actually realized that I have seen this before. So this is really cool. and it's got a lot of the product details and everything, so you guys can check that out here. And then what was the other title, just so I can show them off?
It's called Legendary Ladies.
Okay.
And it's about goddesses from all different cultures.
Hopefully I spelled legendary right, and no, I did not. Thank you.
This is like a real test.
Yeah, this is... oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. These are so beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much. 50
goddesses to empower and inspire you. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So yeah, guys, definitely give Ann a follow on social media. I believe you said Instagram was the best place to kind of check you out and see what you're doing online. Check out her books online. Tim posted a link to Ann's Behance, Instagram, Twitter, and AnnShen.com, so you guys can check out her website. And it has been a blast kind of hanging out with you and chit-chatting today. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. You're an amazing host. So,
thank you.
So welcome.
Well, it's been a blast. And also, this is not the last day that we have with Ann. Yes. She and I are going to be back tomorrow, so we can do, I guess, another illustration.
A whole new illustration.
Are you able to reveal what we're working on, or would you rather keep it a secret?
Let's reveal it so people will come back, because I will also, again, be taking suggestions for what to draw for it.
All right.
But another way I've been staying connected with friends, as we mentioned earlier, is playing games, like gaming online. And obviously my friends and I are playing Animal Crossing, where we're visiting each other a lot. So I was going to make a virtual game board. So I need lots of advice, because I don't play a lot of video games, on what kinds of characters and animals and things to include.
Awesome.
So let's do that together.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. All right. Thank you, everyone, so much. And we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks,
Adios,
bye.
folks.